Hey, TGO Urgent Alert members and Full Throttle potential members, welcome aboard. Matthew Buckley, call sign Wiz. Hopefully you know me by now. To our Urgent Alert video and slash trade of the week, along with our Urgent Alert portfolio review. The Urgent Alert is one of our lower cost services, but we put it in with the full throttle package. Let's do a shot every time I say the word full throttle package that you're going to learn about tomorrow. So this is going to be the trade for the week, along with the portfolio review. Real quick review of where we are. We knocked out the in-doc brief last night. If you didn't get a chance to watch it, you have to watch it before you attend any more sessions, folks. It really is the history of how we got here. Here's the address: go.topgunoptions.com/FT replay. You can see the replay from last night, which is a must, and I'm not going to tell you what I go through because you're going to watch it and you're going to go through it. Right now, the primary live trade brief from this morning is posted as well. The closing Apple Iron Condor I showed you live with all my other members in the roof, $2,500 in a week and a half, 75% profit. And we put on a new Goldman Sachs and Amazon trades. And I also told members who got filled on the SPX weekly bull put spread that I sent out via text and email yesterday to get out of that thing. I didn't get filled, man. I chased it around, never got filled yesterday. By the time this morning kicked off, I said, hey, close it, man. It's up $1,000. It's up $1 in a day for about a 70% profit. Get out. As we talked through the rest of it, now the Dow's up triple digits, and the S&P has had a nice 40 or 20 handle, whatever it's up. That's most likely at max profit. So some folks, as I was exiting the PLTB this morning, said, hey, Wiz, I'm up $1,500. Thanks for the one-day trade. Bang. You're going to find out tomorrow that with just those two trades I talked about, the Apple and the SPX, you could have paid for an annual membership in the TGO, and I did it essentially this over the past couple days or week and a half. So really fired up. Here's where you watch all the replays. This video, you're most likely watching on this replay page as well. Now, for some of you, again, numbers lie. Wait a minute. Strike that, reverse it. Willy Wonka. Men lie, numbers don't. I've been showing you this as it keeps going up and up and up. This is the full throttle training week, as a lot of our strategic partners are hearing about the good trades we've had over the past 3,747 traders and investors of all skill levels are registered here. This is the highest full throttle I've seen in 7 years that we've been around. This is also, I actually had to, no offense if you still have the phone number from when it was up on the website, I took it down, folks, until tomorrow when I open the slots. We already had like 4 or 5 annual slots go. For the people I said, hey, can you save me a slot? I'm like, well, if you contact support at topgunoptions.com and you're ready to buy right now an annual slot, I'll give you an early slot. I probably should have told, I did say that live, so never mind, I don't feel bad. The slots are going, folks. Once we hit 50, we're done. And based on that number of people right there, maybe the next full throttle will take 75. But for this time, my other traders, my support staff, and everybody else has just signed on for only 50 members. And we might even fill that by tomorrow night. I'm going to open up the slots tomorrow afternoon formally after I get done my accelerated retirement webinar tomorrow. But we got a lot of Stephen, Deandra, and there's a couple other folks in my glasses, whatever. But if you want a full throttle slot, a membership after only a couple of these sessions, man, that makes me feel good, because the reason I wait to open the slots formally is people wanted to jump on board last night. I'm like, man, I haven't even gotten in the market and started trading yet. And then I guess when I got in the market and we closed a one-day trade for about some people for $1,200 to $1,400 and an Apple Iron Condor for $2,500, I guess that would push me over the edge too. So if you want to grab a slot now, I'll let early folks get in, but it'll be a full throttle max slot because I really like hitting a starting gun tomorrow after accelerated retirement. But this, I've never seen it like this before, and I guess that's a good thing. Okay, let's get going. Here's the Urgent Alert portfolio. You know the performance from last year. I briefed you last night on it. $1.21 last year, really printing money on the SPX. This is the Urgent Alert and weekly options portfolio. Let me do what I'm going to do first. Let me do the portfolio review first and show some current existing positions and update it for my existing members, and then we'll get into a new trade. Okay, Disney. I currently have a long call diagonal with a protective put on Disney. It's up about $2,000 right now. This goes out to Jan 18. I put this on about 6 months ago. It's not knocking it out of the park. Well, Wiz, I'd love to be up $2,000. Well, let's take a look at the chart, and then I'll tell you when I got in and what's going on now. Let me go 1 year. And right here is about where Wiz got in and Disney implodes. Wiz, why didn't you get out of it right here? You didn't attend last night. If my commit criteria, why am I committing money to Disney, or my strategic mindset at a high level don't change, I don't get out of the trade. You know why? Because, and here's why, folks, because most people would do that. They'd be like, oh my God, was this thing's going down and I'm going to get out, and you got out right here. And then you look at now I'll show you the 3-month chart, and then you would look at this rally and go, some bitch, it was that smoking, my dad used Smoking the Bandit. Remind me when we get home to punch your mama in the mouth. Look at this rip your face off rally out of Disney. This is a position I showed you today how to do a long call diagonal with a protective put on Goldman Sachs. I would do the same thing on Disney right here. I don't want to hear the ESPN crap. ESPN sucks. I hate ESPN. It's full of a bunch of liberals. Liberal, except Charles Barkley, who I love. He should run for president. The ESPN property sucks. It's an albatross. I hope they cut it. The theme parks. My daughter was up at Universal the other day for her, oh my God, 9th birthday. Oh man. The Rogue One, the Star Wars, the Last Jedi is the name of the movie. They're movie properties. They're actual parks. This thing prints money. They got to get rid of the albatross. This is a Jan 19 trade I would do. Maybe this will be the trade I do today. But for existing members, I'm still in it. So let's put on some front month upside calls. So remember, folks, this is a gentle climb schedule right here. When a stock or an ETF is on a gentle climb, I tend to sell front month upside calls that are about 2.5% to 5% out of the money, meaning above the stock. If the stock starts to go on a tear like that's a pretty decent climb schedule. I tend to sell front month upside calls that are 7.5% to 5% out of the money. Okay. If none of that makes sense, you're going to become a member, and I'm going to give you an hour-and-a-half lecture on this instead of about 20 minutes. So again, sign up. This will all become clear. But for my current members, since we've kind of leveled off and kind of reached climb altitude here, let me see when earnings are. We're in earnings season. Always got to look here. I think we're pretty close. February 7th. No, we can put on some short calls here. I'm going to go pretty close to at the money here. Maybe the 109s. The 109s. How many contracts do I have here? 10. So let's pull up the options chain. 10 of them. Go out to the Feb. Is there a Feb 7 expiration? Feb 10. I'll do the Feb 10s. I will not hold these through earnings. Remember, just like the Amazon bull put spread I put on today, I will be out of that trade before earnings. I think Amazon channels into earnings, and I think that's good to go. So I'm going to sell 10 of the Feb 10s 109 calls, create order. And this is awesome. Just for 2 weeks worth of quote work, I'm going to sit here and potentially bring in $1,400. That's pretty nice. The trade's up $2,000 right now. If Disney finishes below 109 by 2 weeks, guess what? I collect that full $1,400. You know what? That's a little too aggressive. Let me do the 110s. It's topped out at 110 recently. Let me get a little conservative. So $1,000. So $1,000 for there's my daughter getting home from school. So $1,000 for 2 weeks of worth, averaging $500, bringing in that premium. Remember, buying those deep in the money 80 Delta calls that I did on Disney was buying that $250,000 Ferrari down here in Palm Beach County. Let's get somebody else to make some front month upside weekly car payments for us, and I just got us $1,000. So potentially, if Disney finishes below 110 by February 10th, or actually February 8th, because that's when I'm going to get below it, I'll collect maybe $800, $900. Okay? And again, folks, I have training videos on all of this. How to do a long call diagonal with a protective put. What type, selling the front month upside calls. How far out of the money do I do it? When do I roll them? All that stuff, all the questions you got floating around right now, I got answers. You got questions, I got answers, but only if you become a member. Like the 6 people or however many have already grabbed their slots. FXI, this is China. I gave you my China brief today in the primary live trade brief. I have 2 trades on. This is a Jan 18th. I'm kind of drag racing these trades. So for those of you who are like, hey, Wiz, what's the difference between synthetic stock and a long call diagonal. You're about to learn. Here's my current FXI position out to Jan 18. Okay. I'm long 15 of the Jan 18 25 disaster puts. I explained what protective or disaster puts are this morning. Watch the replay. And then I bought 15 of the Jan 18 26 calls. Okay, this is a long call diagonal. I need to put some short calls on. Stand by. Here is synthetic stock. I put these on at the same time. This trades up 3,200 bucks. Whoa, wait a minute. This one's up 200. This one's up 3,200. This is the difference between a long call diagonal and synthetic stock. First of all, if you don't know what synthetic stock is, here you go. It's not real stock, hence the word synthetic. But it acts like stock, and I'll tell you how. It's not stock because you don't own the shares. You don't get to vote. Since you're not a shareholder, who cares? Carl Icahn's got your vote anyway. And you don't get a dividend. So if you're a dividend type of trader, I haven't done that in 15 years since I was trying to help my mom. I don't care about dividends. So who cares? I would never, I can't remember the last time, I physically can't remember the last time I bought a stock. It's stupid. I can create the same position using options. Now, here's how you create synthetic stock. One more time, you're going to get so much training on synthetic stock. We'll sit here for 2 hours if we need to talk. Not right now. When you short puts, you're bullish. When you buy calls, you're bullish. All right, does that make sense? I know that part. Buying calls, I'm bullish. Selling puts, I'm a little cloudy. I'll think about that. Regardless, folks, if you do it with the same expiration, Jan 18, and the same strike, you create synthetic stock. The difference is this. With a long call diagonal, as you saw this morning, I went and bought some deep in the money 80 delta puts. I'm sorry, 1 delta calls. The 0.8 delta calls. The 1 delta calls, if you remember from this morning, were like $100 on Goldman Sachs. And the 0.5 delta calls were like $30. I split the difference and I went with the 0.8 delta, and I forget what they were, $75. With synthetic stock, folks, this is a 1 delta trade. Why? Stock is a 1 delta trade, right? If FXI goes up $1, we go up $1. If it goes down $10, we go. So it's a 1 for 1. The 0.8 delta calls in a long call diagonal are a little cheaper to get into. And it takes some time for those 0.8 delta calls. Remember Saturday morning how a bill becomes a law? As FXI or Goldman Sachs, we talked about this morning, goes up in value, those 0.8 delta calls become 0.85, 0.89, 9.0, 9. Eventually, they become 1 delta calls, just like synthetic stock. So it's like planting a seed and watching that trade grow. Synthetic stock, you're starting with a grown tree. But it's the options market's not stupid, folks. You got to pay for that. So a synthetic stock position is going to cost you a little bit more money initially, but you see, it's like me jumping on the treadmill this afternoon after the market closes. I'm going to pay up a little bit to get on this treadmill so I can go 10 miles an hour immediately. Well, I'd probably fall on my face. You get what I mean. The guy next to me pays half what I pay, $5. I paid $10. He gets on a treadmill, 4 miles an hour, 6 miles an hour, 8. Now he's sprinting with me. He may be paid a little bit less, but eventually, if he's right, he gets up to my speed. Okay? If I lost you at all, 2-hour lecture, join. So, and I also put disaster puts in here, and I explained why I put those in. So, as you can see, when I drag race a long call diagonal versus synthetic stock, it just depends. You know, I'd rather deploy some of my other capital in some other positions than do a long call diagonal. I want to see profits now or potential losses. Do synthetic stock. So I have 2 positions on China. 10 and 15 is what? 25 contracts. So let's take a look and see what short calls I'm going to put on here. Holy Trump and trade war Batman. There's the, we're going to get tough on trade and everything like that. No, I can work with China. There won't be any stuff like that. Oh my God, they stole one of our drones. No, we're not going to have a trade war. I'm over in Davos. I'm the president of China. First time I've ever been there. Now we're kind of moving sideways, waiting for the next. Is there going to be a broadside? Are we going to be friends? You're just going to be friends with Putin? Hey, we're friends with Putin. Can we all get along, Rodney King? Let's go out maybe the 37 and a half, 2 weeks. I have 25 contracts. 10 plus 15 is 25. Let's go out to maybe the 37 and a halves out to Feb 10. I'm going to sell 25 mid-market and bring in $450. Again, folks, if your neighbor at a cocktail party this weekend's like, I'm long China, long the FXI, but it's kind of flat here, waiting for it to go up, you can be like, I am too, and I'm making money on it. Liar! No, I am. I'm selling front month upside calls, so while you just sit there and wallow with your ETF shares, I'm bringing in some premium. Buy me a drink. Okay, that takes care of FXI. And again, I'm going a little bit quicker because these are positions for my existing members, and they know what these are, and I don't have to go super slow for them. Excuse me, JP Morgan. Holy Batman. This trade is up $23,480. It's been on, I believe, 6 or 7 months. It's averaging between $3,000 and $4,000 a month. I closed an accelerated retirement trade in December that I had on for a year and a half for $35,000. It's not sexy weekly options, $1,000 in a day. It was slow and steady wins the race. JP Morgan, we kept in it. Even when JP Morgan went down, we just moved our front month upside calls down and still brought in money. JP Morgan went up, we moved our... This is awesome. Anybody would have liked to have made $24,000 in the past 6 months? That's what some people make in a job, folks, in 6 months. The answer is yes, you would like to make that. And look at the risk, $7,400 in risk. Like I talked about with Goldman Sachs today, JP Morgan ain't going out of business tomorrow. Donald Trump called him to be his Treasury Secretary. That was the first call he made. Jamie Dimon said no. So I am short 10 of Friday's 90 calls. We're at $85 right now. Watch me take profits on these. Disaster puts at 40, and I'm long the 42.5 calls. These were deep in the money, 80 delta calls. Right now, they're about 1 delta. They're blindingly 1 delta calls, just like synthetic stock right now. So again, started cheap with them, build them up, boom, they're airborne. This is printing money. How much profit do we have in our upside calls? They're up 95%, $445. I think I'm not going to sit here until Friday and try and squeeze out another $25. If that's you, please don't get a full throttle slide. That's dumb. Here's the newest trade I put on for JP Morgan. So if you had joined about the Goldman Sachs trade I put on a month ago is up $5,500, I think it was this morning. This JP Morgan trade I put on last month around Goldman Sachs, I put JP Morgan in this portfolio. It's up $3,700. Golf clap. Anybody like making $3,700 in a month? Annualize it. In this trade, I'm also short the 90s, but this one I bought 10 of the Jan 19. So you see I have a Jan 18 trade and I have a Jan 19. I leapfrog these, folks. If you had joined the full throttle in December, you would have seen I had a Jan 17 and a Jan 18. When the Jan 17s rolled off and I closed them, I put on the Jan 19. This time next year, when you remember, we'll have a Jan 18 roll off, and I'll have a Jan 20 roll on. Oh my God, I'm wishing my life away. All right, so here's what we're going to do. I'm going to close. I'm going to roll these down and out. Let's just look at a chart real quick. Here's that little pullback on earnings, financials, blah, blah, blah. JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, printed money. It was a sell on the news. That's why I don't trade through earnings. I hate being right when I'm right on earnings and the trade going against me. That's why I don't do it. I don't like that stuff. I think these guys get back on their horse here pretty soon. But let's roll them down to like the, let's go out 2 weeks and maybe go up to like the 87s, back where it was before they gave this, was that a trapezoid or parallelogram? Back before they gave up the ghost on earnings. So let's go. I'm going to click that. I'm going to click close adjust. And this is why you get optionshouse.com/TGO, Top Gun Options. $1,000 or what is it? 60 days free trading. This is so cool. What do you want to do with these short calls, Wiz? I want to roll them down and out. Okay, well, click roll down and out. And then get in here and see if we did the right things. I'm going to buy to close 20. Remember, I have two trades of 10. So for me, I got 20. I'm going to buy to close 20 of the Jan 1790s, and I'm going to sell the Feb, and what did I say, 87 and a half. I think that's what I said. 87s for 23 cents. Survey said, so I'm going to bring in what? Just north of $600 in a couple weeks, averaging $300 a week, $460 to $230 per week. Anybody like banking an extra $230 per week? Yes, at Vertical Head Nod. These are all phantom positions. Ignore them. VXX, which is what I'm about to talk about right now. I have to stop right here, folks, and make a major Obama teachable moment. You're going to hear two words going forward here at Top Gun Options when I talk about volatility. One is either a hedge, and there are slides going. One is either, if I put on a volatility trade as a hedge, please write this down. Even if you don't grab a slot or whatever, take this the rest of your career. If you want to hedge, and that trade, quote, I hate using air quotes, but I have to, quote, loses money, you didn't lose money. Wiz, I think on the screen you're losing. But I didn't. Because if this VXX trade, quote, lost money, that means the market didn't go full freak mode to the downside, for example, and these longs were what? Green. St. Patrick, love of the Irish, green. If this trade printed money, well, a lot of my longs are getting kicked in the gut. But here's why they're longs. So all those trades are out to Jan 18 or Jan 19. Disney, China. I don't think China's going out of business. Disney, China, JP Morgan. I think by Jan 18 or Jan 19, whatever bad happens, look at the financial crisis, folks, in 2008. We got back on our feet eventually. And if you had bought at the 666 bottom and we're still holding to now, you'd be a quadrillionaire. So the difference between the words hedge, which is, that's the cost. That's my ejection seat. I never went flying over Iraq or ever in the F-18 where the chief said, hey, sir, do you need an ejection seat today? I'm going to live through this one. What do you think, I'm stupid? Now, if I say, hey, I'm going to, with this VXX position, this is a trade, that means I better damn well make money. It's a trade. Let me give you an example. For this hedge, this VXX on the screen I've had on, I put this on through the inauguration. I put it on about a month ago. Why? I don't know. No, I do know. God almighty, there was trucks plowing in the people overseas. ISIS declared January 20th a day of blood. I thought every Trump tower around the world was going to be an ISIS target on the 20th. You call me a freak. I'm not a freak. I'm a military guy. We're taught to think about that. I guarantee you, people in the Pentagon, the agency all over, like, oh my God, these Trump, what else would you blow up on January 20th? So, what else could have gone? I rattled off so many things that could have gone wrong. I think I put this on the beginning of December. I said, guys, I'm just throwing on a hedge, man. Our longs are looking good. We're printing money. I'm throwing this on. And if nothing happens, I slept better at night. Does everybody understand that? Vertical head nod. When did I use VXX as a trade? Brexit. Into the Brexit vote and out. We put on we put on 2 or 3 bullish double verticals going into the Brexit. I didn't know how they were going to vote. I took a guess. They'll stay. You're wrong, Wiz. I don't care. We made 20 grand on 2 or 3 VXX trades with volatility, uncertainty going up. How do we make the rest of it? Because as the vote was getting ready to get announced, I said, close all those, take the profit. Let's roll inverted and get bearish on volatility. Because here's the blinding measure of sanity statement for the day. When something is known, wait for it, it's known. Meaning, once the vote came out, what did volatility do? It crushed. Same thing with earnings. We have Apple earnings coming up. The volatility is going through the roof. Hi, I'm Tim Cook. Here's our earnings. Think of volatility as a balloon blown up, and when the guy says something and it's known, let the balloon go. Vol's going to implode, so get bearish on it. 3,800 vertical head nods, I hope. All my opt-ins watching this. So, Brexit. How about the Fed meeting? The Fed meeting, October, November, whenever it was, August, whatever. Everybody thought, you know what, I think or December, she's going to sneak in a rate hike. Nah, she wasn't going to do it in December after the election. It was before the election. I said, she's not going to do it. I don't know if she's not going to do it or do it. Who cares? Volatility went up. We made 4 or 5 grand on it. And then as soon as she got ready to come to the microphone, close, get bearish, volatility implodes. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that's like shooting fish in a barrel, but potentially it's like shooting fish in a barrel. And not a lot of retail traders know about these type of trades. You're trading Apple and Tesla. Well, Elon Musk is weird. His name sounds like a cologne. You get shiny red ball and other stuff. Why don't you take some of these layup trades, folks? I never wanted those debt ceiling fights to stop. I hate Paul Ryan, man. I loved Republicans are going to shut down the government with Obama, raise my debt ceiling. No, the VIX would go nuts from a 12 to a 24. I'm like, they're not going to shut down the government. Even if they do, it'll be for what, 2-3 days? Remember when that jackass closed the World War II memorial and they actually started arresting World War II veterans in wheelchairs? Thank God those days are over with. That's my flight suit talk. My Gordon Gekko suit, good. Close the government down, have the VIX smash, and then I know we're going to reopen. As soon as John Boehner came to the microphone with his great tan smelling like tobacco and his quivering lip, I knew the government was going to reopen. Close the trade, get bearish on vol. So, short story long, get here to TGO, and I'm going to show you how to trade stupidity and uncertainty, okay? I don't have much more time. I want to get a trade on. But as I look at this trade, you should have your trade plan right in front of you, okay? It's under my stuff here. Step 1, strategic mindset. I am still cautiously bullish on this market. You can't keep me down. For all the idiots that are saying it's overbought and time to get out, those were all the people like at Citi who said Clinton wins. If Trump wins, the market goes down 5%. Come on, people. I said Trump would win and the market would go up 5%. I was wrong. It went up a hell of a lot more than that. Nice failure, Wiz. So the same people who who are trying to talk this market down got this wrong. Don't listen to them, folks. They put their pants on or dress just as you do, okay? Target. Let's use VXX. 8-hour lecture. Once you sign up for Full Throttle, Doug Robertson's going to give you a 2-hour PhD on the difference between trading VIX and VXX. I'm not going to give it to you. There's a lot of math. It's a lot of rocket surgery. He's an Army brainiac. I'm a Navy idiot. Trading the VIX, folks, you're actually trading the VIX futures. You're not trading the spot VIX like, hey, it should do this. For all the people who've been confused and tried to trade VIX and lost money, even though it did what you wanted it to, it's because you're trading the wrong instrument. Now, you have got to remember with VXX, over time, this thing's going to go to zero, folks. I'm telling you that. Oh my God, man, then why would we trade it? We're going to trade it because inside of 30 days, I'll trade VIX. Outside of 30 days, I tend to trade VXX. Right on the month, if it's 30 days out, it's a coin flip. Now, and I got to tell you, folks, let's at least look at VIX real quick. If you do not want to do this as a portfolio hedge, just listen to me for the education because I'm going to brief you on a tactic none of you have heard before except my members. Look at the VIX, folks. The VIX resting heart rate recently has been what? Around 11, upper 11-ish to 12. Something happens to freak the market out. Brexit, Fed meeting, election. And what's it do? Holy crap, Donald Trump might win. Hey, he won. He's not a lunatic yet. And it goes back down. The VIX is a heart rate monitor, folks. It isn't a stock that does this. Yeah, VIX is great. I'm long VIX. No. It reverts to its mean. So, is there something in the next 30 days that could freak the market out and cause volatility to spike? Yes. What is it, Wiz? I have no clue. If I knew what was going to cause the market to freak out in the next 30 days, my call sign wouldn't be Wiz, it would be Nostradamus. I'm not. But the guy's doing what he said he's going to do, man. Day 2, and it seems like we're 2 months into this thing. Could Schumer be the stick in the mud? He already is, folks. The guy's a jerk. You see that article last month? He was yelling. He's always on that shuttle in between Washington and New York. I think, who was he sitting next to? Some other jerk from New York. This flight attendant's like, sir, you got a powerful cell phone. We can't push back. You're the only guy on there. He's like, he started yelling at her, and she's like, I'll tell the captain, sir, we'll have you removed. And he's like, fine. Put his phone down. He's like, bitch. He called a United flight attendant a bitch, a sitting U.S. senator. Google it. Of course, the mainstream media didn't report that, did they? If that was a Republican senator, man, that would have been breaking news. I digress. There's your political rant for the day. So, I have no idea what the right side of this chart looks like. Hell, man, Jesus would be great if he came back to life tomorrow, and vol goes to 0. Peace, love, and understanding break out. Putin, the Antichrist comes and takes his son home. I don't know. Could vol go lower? Yeah, man. I don't think so. I've been doing this for over a quarter of a century, and something to an F-18 and a Su-37 go bump in the night over Syria. Now Trump and Putin hate each other, and there's a shooting war. One of the blue water submarines out of China decides to do something. Kim Jong, cream of some young guy, launches an ICBM out of North Korea, and it goes off course towards Japan. Man, I don't know. This is why we do a strategic brief, folks, is for me to put on your radar anything that can reach out and touch us. So if you're sitting here going, I might like to hedge my overall portfolio against a potential spike in uncertainty. Listen, if you don't want to hedge and you'd like a trade, do some of the trade, the Goldman Sachs or the whatever. What else did we do today? Amazon trade. But at least listen to the tactic. This is called a bullish double vertical. This is cool. This trade, listen to me, you only use when you are really, really, really something. Did you count it? That was 3 reallys. You only use this tactic if you're really, really, really bullish or bearish. In this case, I call it an afterburner trade because you're going to see potential profits really fast or losses really fast. So I think something's going to happen. They call it the first 100 days, man. The guy's, he's airborne right now, but could something bad happen around the world? I think I've established. You all agree there might. What are we? It's January 24th. Let's go out to at least February. Let's go out a month. And that's the dividing line between VIX and VXX for me. Join, see me in our Ready Room, which is our interactive forum on the website where we all talk back and forth, and I'll explain why. But we got to cruise. So we're kind of having a nice little rally here, and this is the best time to put these on because vol's pulling back even more. All it's going to take is some of these guys, some of these huge hedge fund managers are as nervous as a cat in a room full of rocking chairs. So here's what I'm going to do. New spread. Here's the trade. Trade Monster calls it a vertical spread. I'm not one of those guys that double uses words, folks. Like, I hate when people go, hey, I'm going to the ATM machine. I'm like, oh, man, you're going to the automated teller machine. I call it a double vertical. Now, watch this. First thing you should do is look over at the picture. The drawing over here is what? Okay, there's a vertical spread, and there's a vertical spread. You're with me so far. Add edit legs. I'm going to, 1970? Man, that's a 1970. I was born in 68. I just aged myself. I was going to say I had bell bottoms on. I didn't, unless they were in diapers. Let's do the 19.5, 19. And with VXX, I only use 50-cent wide strikes. Join, I'll tell you why. The 20.5, 21. I like that. Let me disappear for a second. Pay no attention to what's going on behind the scenes here because I want to look at risk and a bunch of other stuff before I brief you on the trade. 125. I think we can do about 125 of these, and that's me. 150 will be right in the ballpark. Again, I'm mumbling to myself. You don't have to be following me right now because I'm going to go back and get you. Boom, $5,000. All right, here we go. Let me ask you a question, and it's going to be rhetorical since you're listening or recording. If, Wiz, you had me at hello, great, that's even better. Wiz, I agree. Between now and February 24th, I don't know what could happen, dude. I'm a little nervous, too. I'm happy with some of the other longs you got going down range, but I want to protect them a little bit. Trade the back months, those long call diagonal synthetic stock to Jan 18, Jan 19. Trade the front months with me with weekly options and Amazon bull put spreads a couple weeks out. But also hedge the front months. The USS Top Gun options, we have bilge pumps. These are bilge pumps, folks. If we catch a couple market torpedoes, we might list a little bit, but we're going to keep sailing because these bilge pumps give us a little bit of coin while our longs get hit. And then I'll take the potential profits from these hedges and roll them back. Hey, Goldman Sachs pulled back 30 bucks, but I made 10 grand on this VXX hedge. I'm putting that 10 grand over into Goldman Sachs. Yeah, I know you'd find a home here. I just read everybody's mind. So here we go. If you think, Wiz, you're right. I think it's going to go up. I'm going to buy a bull call spread. Ow. Don't ever do that, folks. If you look at me and say, Wiz, I think VXX is going to go up, the next thing I'm going to ask you is, what do you think it's also not going to do? And if you didn't see me just put my hand down, you would have sat there for at least 15 seconds until your light bulb went on and said, wait, if I think something's going up, I also don't think it's going down. That's two trades, folks. If you think something is going up, you can put on a bull call spread. But Wiz, you just proved to me if I think it's going up, I also don't think it's going down. Why don't I put on a bull put spread? Bullish double vertical. And here's what puts the massive smile on my face. A bull call spread is a debit spread, folks. I hate debit spreads. I hate debit anything. I hate debit card, Hey, man, a debit spread costs you money. You're coming out of pocket to do this bull call spread. But Uncle Wiz is teaching you, if you sell this bull put spread, that is, you learned today from Amazon, that's called a credit spread. So hallelujah, you're bringing in a credit to do this bull put spread, and it's paying for the bull call spread. That's the sugar daddy of me in South Florida. Look at this, 17-cent credit. Stop, Wiz. Let me get this straight. You're sitting at your kitchen table right here. Somebody just came in the front door and said, hey, good afternoon, sir. I'd like to pay for your USAA auto, home, and life for the next month. I'd like to hedge. I'll pick that up. Yeah. How many of you suckers have just been let me stroke the check. I love this trade. This is a hedge again, guys. If this trade loses every penny I put into it, I don't care. If you do, then don't do. Do something else. You can, if you think the market's going to pull back, maybe just do a bear put spread on the S&P 500. We'll talk more about that. But remember, guys, this isn't a trade for me. This is a hedge. So if this looks interesting to you and you want to learn more, then just follow along with the training here. That's what I do. Now, let's go to the metrics because these will put a huge smile on your face. So real quick, that's the blue line. That's VXX. We know over time, man, this thing ain't good. Due to backwardation and contango, that line is going to slowly inch to the left to the port side, and that ain't good. So we need vol to pick up here. I don't necessarily want vol to pick up. Terror attack over here, and the market's yay, this trade's up. Boo for life. I'm Gordon Gecko, though, wearing my Armani right now. I don't have my flight suit on. Okay. So now let me go mid-market. I think they said about 17, 18 cents. Now I'm going to click analyze, and you guys know you have to look at Mr. Sad Face first. Bang. Max potential loss. Wiz, you think you do this for a living. $4,900, $5,000. This is right in line with my SOP of not wanting to risk more than $5,000 on any one trade. Now, as a matter of fact, folks, for my hedges, I might pull that in. Maybe as a hedge, since I don't want to lose $5,000, maybe I make it $2,500. And remember, if you're sitting here right now going, Wiz, I can't join TGO, man. I don't want to risk $5,000. Einstein's, look here. How many contracts do I have? 150. How much would you like to hedge? Not risk more than, I don't know, Wiz, $2,500. What's half of 150? Do 75 contracts. Do 10. Do 1. Do 1,000. I can't tell you. Not your financial advisor. Now look at Mr. Happy Face. 10 grand, Wiz. I can make 10 grand on this trade. I'm doing it. Done. Stop. Look at the at-the-money using at-the-money volatility of the probabilities. 31%, 43%. Wiz, those are below. Oh, look at this. The probability for at least breaking even is 53. So there's a better than a 50% chance that I at least break even. This is your melatonin, folks. This is your Wiz helps me sleep better at night because I have a hedge on. This is not a high probability trade, folks. This is a hedge. If it was a trade, you can be damn sure I'd be busting my ass to make some money here. This is I sleep better at night. This is why I'm a professional trader. This is why I flew 44 combat sorties, is because I knew if everything went to hell in a handbasket, I could reach down between my legs and pull on that big yellow handle that says eject, and I could get out of the airplane and get out of the trade. Let me grab another screenshot. Why am I doing this? Because you guys will get an email with it. I'm actually going to give you access to the member page this is on so you can see how the website is all. Now, I'm getting winded here, and I usually give a longer explanation to my members, and there's training videos on this. I'm going to the market makers see this as one trade, folks. They know it's a double vertical. So when I click create order and I fire this, I'm going to do the walk it on up type of thing that I told you I do with Goldman Sachs. If I don't get filled on this by when? I don't know, 15 minutes. My daughter just got home from school. We're going to go, and my son, we might shoot pucks in the front. Yes, I'm in Florida. They play hockey, and they're shooting pucks in the front yard. I'm going to come back in. Oh, I didn't get filled. I might break this trade up into what? 2 separate spreads. A bull put spread and the bull call. Just put it in as 2 separate spreads. I always get this question. Which one first? I don't know. It doesn't matter to me. And sometimes, I will say sometimes, folks, you do get better pricing if you put it in as two separate spreads and put them in at mid-market. Usually you might be able to beat that 17 cents. Anecdotal, folks. I've been doing it for 26 years. I will tell you that anecdotally, I usually get better fills on the individual spreads than as a whole. I'm lazy. I'm going to put them in as all 4 now. And if I get filled, Now, I'm going to talk about trade management briefly, folks. When you join, I'm going to talk about trade management, and we'll talk about this weekly. But I got to get going, man. Here's what we're going to do. If I see a giant spike in volatility tomorrow, God forbid something awful happens and the market freaks out and pulls back and we got a big spike in volatility, this trade will make money very quickly. What could I do if I'm seeing some nice profits? I'm up $5,000, half my max profit, $5,000. Here's what I could do. The first thing I could do is I have 150 contracts. Why don't I take off 75 of them? Why don't I take that $5,000 in profit and let the other 75 contracts ride? Good idea, Wiz. Write that one down. How to manage double vertical. You'll get this with your training. Here's the other thing I could do. Which spread out of these 2, the credit spread or the debit spread, hates theta, hates time decay? The debit spread. So let's say we get a big spike in volatility and the bull call spread is showing a nice little profit. Close it. And let the bull put spread ride. Why? Because the bull put spread likes theta. No likey theta, like theta. So we could either reduce the number of contracts and take some profits, close the bull call spread and let the bull put spread ride, or just keep the damn thing on if it looks like the market's really rolling over, and this is the big one. Fred Sanford, right? This is a big one, Elizabeth. We could do that. Now, okay, I'm about to sign off, and some of you are going, whoa, 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 what about loss? What if it's losing money? Then you didn't listen for the past 20 minutes, and you're not going to fit in at TGO. I don't care if I take this max loss on this trade. I mean, on some level, I probably do. I don't have $5,000. Just look at me. I slept better at night. This is a hedge, okay? Now, some of you might be sitting there going, well, Wiz, yeah, all your longs made a lot of money, but you lost $5,000 here. Don't be that person, because I'll be the person dancing on your grave when, not if, the market eventually rolls back and you're like, holy crap, my Jan 19s, Jan 18s, all my front months are imploding. I have a completely red screen. I'm going to go, where's your hedge? Where's the hedge on a day like that where you can go, well, at least I'm up 10 grand on these. I know I have time for the other ones to come back. That's going to make you a pro-am. That's going to make you very successful here at TGO. The difference between a hedge and a trade. Hedge, Trade, I want to win. Hedge, ejection seat. Trade, I'm coming back with 5 MIG kills. Right? Cigar and scarf out the cockpit. Longer than I wanted to. But everybody, I hope, gets that, okay? I'm going to, and real quick, I don't talk about contracts, folks. Everybody's different. Go open an account on Options House, negotiate, good, whatever. If you're a commission guy or gal that's like, oh man, that doing 150 contracts is high for me, do dollar-wide strikes. I'm not going to talk about commissions. I don't, but I just did a little bit. If you're a commissions person, do dollar-wide strikes. and you'll reduce the number of contracts. Okay, let me see something real quick. Where was my buddy here on the desktop? Where's testimonials? One of my guys was talking about contracts. I just want to show you something. Where's contracts? Somebody These guys, I don't, just to prove I don't. Oh, here it is, Mike. Options House Commissions. Let me read this real quick and see if you guys can see it. Zoom in. Wiz, you should reiterate that commissions are folks. Whenever you hear the word commission, realtor, a boat broker, anybody who earns on commissions, folks, don't let it's 6%. You can do it for 4.5%. Done. Commissions are negotiable. I'm an idiot for never realizing that, but after me mentioned it yesterday, I talked to Options House and have reduced my commission structure to a point where I'm saving $150 on a condor. It might be among the best investment tips you've given me. I will leave it at that. Even if you don't leave where you are to go over to Options House, at least do me a favor, man. Call your current broker up and threaten. Folks, I build Options House. Here's, as I'm getting a screenshot here, I'll sign off and tell you what's going to happen. Call Thinkorswim and go, yeah, guys, been here for a couple years. Love you guys. Love you. I'm heading to Options House. Can you transfer my account? Whoa, Mr. Mike, man, you've been with us for ages. And what can I do to keep you? Commissions are way too high. They're giving me more. What are they giving you? Don't want to tell you. Don't tell them. Well, hold on, sir. Click. He's going to put you on hold. Some nice music. He's going to get up and walk into the employee cafeteria. I see it because I used to sit there and watch. He's going to make a nice frappuccino for about 5 minutes. He might play foosball. They have a foosball table. He's going to come back and go, Mr. Mike, man, I talked to my manager. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to match that. If you're not doing that at least once a year, folks, I don't care if it's with DirecTV. I call them up and go, even if I'm bored. I've been with you guys for like 10 years. I'm going to Comcast. So whoa, Mr. Buck. And magically, I get Skinamax and 80 channels for the next 2 weeks. Call your broker and tell him you're going to Options House because they're giving you better rates. This guy, I just saved $150 on every condor he does. Annualize that times 2 or 3 trades a year. I just put a couple grand back in some guy's pocket. I just paid for his full throttle membership. You're welcome, Mike. So, how to get started on that? Oh, the VXX with having a lot of contracts. There's a way around commissions, guys. Again, I'm not a big commissions guy and talk through it. That's about as much as you're going to get out of me because I have to focus on training and teaching you guys what you need to be doing in the business of combat and trading. All right, guys, now that my computer's all over the place, I'm going to get this posted on the replay site. Your next event is 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. We have accelerated retirement. You have to be there, folks. I'm going to open the slots up officially, but like I said, if you contacted Annie in support at Top Gun Options and you get an annual right now, a max annual, man, why am I going to say no and wait till 1 o'clock tomorrow? That shows me you're pretty motivated. And like I said, we have a bunch of you who already have. We get 50 folks, we're done. I'm not messing around. We will fly the flight schedule the rest of the week. If we get 50 by Thursday, Doug will still do his stuff. I'll still do weekly options then because maybe some of you can maybe try and get in one of the other programs we do. But those won't be open. We have a nice quiet period after next week, so you got to get into full throttle this week. That's what I'm saying. Okay, have a great rest of your day. Happy hunting. Make sure you hedge. And I'll be back tomorrow at 1 o'clock with Accelerated Retirement. We'll see you. Go Flyers.